Logan's in Beverly, Ohio. Beautiful this time of year. And he said, who do you think will be the next coach to become a first-time national champion? You know we have 3 active head coaches who have won national championships. Can you name them? Can you just boom, boom, boom? Kirby's one of them, yeah. And maybe you got Dabo, but Saban's gone. Jimbo's gone. They're not there anymore. Urban's gone. He's not here anymore. The third one is Mac Brown. Mac Brown, kids. Yes, you could be a full-grown adult right now and have no recollection of Mac Brown winning a championship because it happened in 2005 at Texas. It's pre-playoff. By several years, it's pre-playoff. It's almost a decade before the playoff began. So anyway, one of my soapboxes that I won't get on for very long here is one of the dumbest things in our sport or life is when someone says, what has he won? Anytime you mention a coach's name, mention Luke Fickell's name. Well, yeah, but what has he won? As if to insinuate you have to have won a championship, a literal national title, for you to be validated. Otherwise, you're just trash. There's this massive landfill over here, and then there are 3 coaches who don't belong on the landfill. Pure insanity, just mouth-breathing, window-licking, knuckle-dragging logic, but I deal with it constantly. You deal with it constantly. So we got Norvell, trash. Sark, trash. Brian Kelly, trash. Why? Because they hadn't won anything. Well, if you believe that, cool. The rest of us are going to speak amongst ourselves for just a second here because there is another group, we're included, who doesn't believe just because you hadn't won a national title, you're trash. So, for example, who's the next head coach to win a first national championship? Sark's got to be right up there. Sark was in the playoff last year, and Steve Sarkisian still has these people wandering around suggesting that last year was a flash in the pan, and he can't do this, and he can't do that. And my thoughts on can't versus haven't are well documented at this point. Sark's not a can't guy. Sark's just a has not guy. And so Steve Sarkisian, the reason I mention him as percentage-wise being maybe the most likely head coach among the ones who haven't won to win a national title is because he's going to be in the picture every year. The way they're acquiring talent, it's going to be in the picture every year. Texas, coming into this season, it's Georgia, Ohio State, and Texas in the preseason national title odds. And you'll notice Ohio State's number 2 and Oregon's number 4. Those are 2 of the other names. Ryan Day, I've got a bunch of you who tell me he can't win one. He can't win the big game, period, you're telling me. Now, you may be right about that, but I still believe it's a difference between can't and has not or haven't. And I'm going to say that about Ryan Day until he is literally no longer the coach there because I believe in the guy. Believe he's got what it takes. And I also believe, look, if you're acquiring that kind of talent every year, it doesn't guarantee anything. Talent has never guaranteed anything. Lack of talent has guaranteed something, but having the talent does not necessarily guarantee anything. What it does is it makes sure you're going to be able to take your shot every year. If I'm in a situation where I've got the 60th best roster in the sport, I could do everything right. I'm not going to win a title. If I've got the 2nd or 3rd best roster in the sport, I could do some stuff wrong and still win a title. You get what I'm saying there? So Saban didn't win a title every year he was at Bama, but he had a shot every year. Kirby's not going to win a title every year. He's got a shot every year. Ryan Day's going to have a shot every year. Sark's going to have a shot. You know who else is going to have a shot? Dan Lanning at Oregon's going to have a shot every year for the foreseeable future because they're going to make sure they have the caliber of player on campus that they need to, and they're going to have the depth on campus that they need to, which you're not used to saying about West Coast teams, but you're going to have to say it about them. Oregon's not a West Coast team. Oregon's just a national college football team that happens to be able to see the Pacific Ocean from their doorstep, but they're joining the Big Ten. You know, they're newcomers on the block, and just like people are doing with Texas and OU down in the SEC, some folks are looking at USC or Oregon or Washington or UCLA. They're looking at them, and they're almost of this mentality that since you're new, you go sit in the back of the bus and work your way up. Oregon's not going to the back of the bus. Oregon's taking one of your seats near the front of the bus, and you're going to have to move back. Next to Ohio State, Oregon's recruiting better than anyone does in the Big Ten today. They're walking in with one of the premier rosters in the conference. They are one of the premier recruiting operations in the conference. that's not going to dissipate, certainly, from being in the Big Ten. It's only going to increase in velocity, if anything. So they're going to be there every year. So you got, I mean, what did I just mention? I mentioned Sark. I mentioned Ryan Day. I mentioned Dan Lanning. Kalen DeBoer is at Alabama. The same thing. Going to have the resources, going to have the kind of roster, and this may be where we have some disagreement because you may not think he's going to recruit at a high enough level. I do think that, but I will grant you time will tell on that. I could put Kalen DeBoer in there. I could put Mike Norvell at Florida State in there. This maybe a year and a half ago would be one where you push back and you say, well, yeah, but he's a G5 guy. Are they really going to operate at the level that you need to there? Yeah, they are. They are. I would have granted you that argument a year and a half ago. I have no doubt about Mike Norvell anymore. I think folks will look back on the 2023 season and think it was sad for Florida State, which it was in outcome. But I've long since kind of reversed my feeling on that season. I'm not going to define it as whether a team got screwed out of it or not. I look at it and say, wow, Mike Norvell answered all the questions. I've had Florida State fans tell me he already had answered our questions. Okay. You know your program better than I do. So maybe he had answered yours before he had answered mine. Either way, we got all our questions answered now. So Sark maybe. Ryan Day needs to be there. DeBoer, Dan Lanning, Mike Norvell. But will there be a coach that's not on that list? Could Josh Heupel be that guy? Could Hugh Freeze be that guy? Brent Venables? You know, I mentioned Luke Fickell earlier in the pod. Could he be that guy?